Welcome to another edition of Don't Shoot the Messenger podcast. I'm your boy, Professional Sutton.
And I'm your boy, Chris G.
And it's your boy, The Ruck Report.
So,
cheers.
So, listen, I'm laughing because, these guys are the funniest guys off the air. And I'm trying to compose myself and trying to be a professional because you never know who watching.
Well, you are the professional.
So,
yeah, you are the professional.
But right now, I'm acting like amateur. yeah, it's crazy. So, D-Ruck wanted to touch on Stephen A. comments. So I was going to let him do his thug-tism.
Yeah, it's just a continuation, man. You know, I'll be definitely in the sports bag throughout the week until we get to the show, man, because I listen to a whole lot of people. But taking it from Sunday Countdown, the start of the conversation continued with the Cap and the anthem thing and the protests and whatever. I mean, there were things that NBA players were putting out. I know Victor Oladipo said he's almost for certain that NBA is also going to have some type of protest. But the interesting thing that Stephen A. put out today. So I'm going to summarize. I don't want to put it out word for word. But I found this very interesting because I didn't know this myself. And I pride myself on knowing stuff.
You are a connoisseur.
Until 2009. No NFL player was required to be on the field for the playing of the national anthem. It was typical that most NFL players were in the locker room. The only time that I think this went away from is when we had 9/11, right? But prior to that, nothing. After 2009, that's when the NFL started requiring players to be on the field for the singing of the national anthem. So people kind of say, why? I was eager to blame this on Chris Boy Roger. But this kind of goes back to Paul. There was a deal made with the military, right? From the years of 2011 to 2014, the NFL made $5.4 million for them having players on the field as the singing of the national anthem. It was kicked up another level in a separate contract that came from reserves and other, people that are affiliated with the armed forces. That through 2013 to 2015, the league made an extra $6.7 million from that deal.
An extra?
Extra.
Wow.
Right? So you're talking about an excess of over 12 and a half, maybe close to $13 million, right? Now, the ploy is that the military and all other branches that are associated with the military gave this money to the NFL to increase the notoriety of players on the field during the singing of the national anthem and to let them do patriotic ceremonies during the singing. So remember when people started running out with the flags. Remember when the flags started coming out. Remember when marching bands started coming out, things like that. This is jets flying over the top. All this stuff. Exactly. Drop one of Clue's bombs for Roger and Paul getting this guap. But the other fact that I found out as I dug a little deeper, if you look, during this time frame, when the NFL got this close to $13 million, there was a jump or a spike in enlistment in military services of almost 54%.
Propaganda, baby.
Don't get no better than that.
Proud to be an American.
Get that guap.
I was born in the USA.
So basically, what you're saying is that the United States government used the NFL as a ploy to get a lot of poor children to the military.
Well, I don't know if I want to say poor children, but I know Max Kellerman.
Come on, man. You know what's going to.
Listen, Max Kellerman, and I know what you're talking about. Off air, I didn't know what you're talking about, but now I know what you're talking about. So, Max Kellerman has said basically they pay for, patriotism. For you to be patriotic, they paid the way for it to be like, I'm very patriotic, which you shouldn't have to pay. Either you are or you aren't.
Exactly.
But like I said, I just think that Cap, while I think he had a full understanding of what he was doing, the ripple effect that it has continued to have, because he ain't came off TV since he did this.
No. I'm tell you what, I'm glad he got some braids now.
Yeah.
I'm glad he braided that up.
Braid that up.
Glad he braided that up.
That joke was kind of lopsided. Anyway, I just think the discussion continues to get deeper, and as you keep looking into it, I'm thinking like, first of all, again, people that are really having a problem with this are really starting to get under my skin. right? I mean, again, it's this man's rights. It's his freedom of speech. It's in the Constitution. Great. The ignorant comment that Trent Dilfer made, because you are a backup quarterback, you basically need to know your role and be quiet.
Wow.
Ain't nobody Etherin better than Skip.
No.
Them right there is the plantation mentality, fighting words. I love Skip, yo. Drop one of Clues bombs for Skip.
Listen, so my issue with it, and I know you have more to say, but I'm just going to say it because I know Chris is going to get on.
Everybody?
Yes.
Yeah.
My issue is, and again, it's not football related, but again, we do this. We talk about what we talk about on the podcast because we feel as African American men, we have an obligation to talk about things in the sports realm that's not going to be portrayed on TV like it should be. My issue with people saying that Kaepernick needs to sit down somewhere, those are the same people that say, you know what, I think that black young men should die and it doesn't matter. Because what's happening is, again, Cap was never disrespectful. Cap never did it.
Still has not been.
He didn't go on anybody's show. He didn't do anything that was, you know, trying to get some attention to himself. Again, like you said, if you look and if you're watching the playing of the national anthem, a lot of people don't put their hands on their heart anyway.
A lot of people don't stand.
Okay.
They showed the anthem being played in Congress.
Exactly.
And people
sit down. So, but people need to realize that he's trying to make America aware of the injustices that are being served against minorities. And I'm talking about minorities as women, LGBT community,
everybody,
African American, everybody. And what he's saying is, listen, I'm doing this right now because I want y'all to know, and as an athlete where I'm using my platform, we have a problem. If you're not a rich white male, then guess what? You fall under that. And that's why a lot of times when a lot of people keep saying, yo, he needs to sit down, he's causing. Okay, but we got people who are getting killed. We got another kid that, you know, someone who got shot and killed in D.C. A friend of mine that was a family member of hers, you know. And again, nothing's being done. But I don't want to hear, oh, it's black on black crime. Nobody talking about that. Yes, they do. But again, when you got people who are getting killed, okay, getting killed for nothing, and a lot of people are getting off for it, there's an issue. Again, when you're talking about Charleston, South Carolina, we're talking about Orlando, when you're talking about, I mean, the list goes on. It's a problem, and people are not really standing up for it. People are not, you know, really doing anything to make it better. So you have an athlete who's not scared. Okay. And then my issue is that a lot of these people are coming together saying, you know what, there is a problem. We're going to stand up to you guys. Stand up for you guys, and we're going to show our solidarity, and we're going to stand with you. You lose your endorsements. I have a problem with that. I have a problem when a person says, listen, we have an issue. We need to take care of it. Since you're not taking care of it, guess what? I'm going to show my pride. I'm going to show my First Amendment, and I'm going to do this.
Yo, you know what's crazy about that part, though? About the endorsement part? You have people actually, truthfully, having a peaceful protest for something. Exercising their, you know, constitutional rights and losing endorsement deals. Where you had Ryan Lochte do what he did.
Exactly.
Not only shame himself and his family, but the country. And you pull an endorsement deal, but then he gets more. You take away this, or you give him a suspension, but he gets to be on Dancing with the Stars.
Thank you.
Right?
Wait, but before you finish that, like you said, what type of signal is that sending to the rest of the world in America when a white male, again, there's some white people, again, I have a lot of white friends. I'm not talking about those who understand, but I'm talking about those who don't care about the cause. But what is that sending when someone who's standing up for their people are getting murdered in the streets? This dude going over there making a fool of himself, losing endorsement, but he still get to be a star on the show. What is that saying about our society?
I mean,
but go ahead, D-Rock.
It just says everything that everybody already knows our society to be. It's unjust, and injustices are always, you know, characterized as just deal with them.
Exactly.
Especially when it comes to us. But again, getting back to the sports side of it, I think the greatest thing, And the greatest response, what Trent Dilfer said, again, my problem with Trent is this. You tell him to sit down because he's a backup quarterback and he should be quiet. Trent, you was a backup quarterback that backed into a starting job that didn't have to do anything but manage a team and get a Super Bowl ring. And right after that, when you got a deal, your ass was right back on the bench. Okay. So now Charles Woodson gave a very unique perspective on it. And he said how when he was playing, that was probably one of the highlights of his career every time before the game, standing for the national anthem, doing all that. Then he said, as Kaepernick went out and he heard all the stuff that people were saying, he's like, you know what, let me dig a little bit and do some research. Then he said, you know what, why am I really doing this? Why am I really having mixed emotions about this when Francis Scott Key, the author of the national anthem, was a slave owner? So like he said, to quote, he didn't write that song for me. You know what I mean? So there are a lot of different ways to look at it. I think the greatest thing that's happening about this is not only the conversation, but the fact that one man has not only sparked a movement, but has sparked a movement in an industry that owns a day of the week. We ain't going to never stop talking about this until something happens.
Exactly.
So, Cap, once again, brother, I stand with Cap. Salute.
I agree. Well, Chris, man, because we know that you waiting.
I'm not waiting. Yo, man, I could say a lot of things, but I mean, it'll just fall on deaf ears really at the end of the day because, listen, as far as not all of America, but how a big portion of America sees minority problems, especially Black people problems, you should be happy that we even let you be here.
There we go.
And
there it is.
That type of mentality that some, not all, but that some have, there is no intelligent conversation you can have with that kind of a point of view. You understand what I'm saying? True. There are people in places of power that you can have a conversation about, and maybe they can see the side that a lot of Black people are coming from. If you can't even acknowledge the side, though, if you can't even listen, I mean, we live in a country where we know that slavery happened, but it is really swept under the rug. America does not like to remember the 300 years of slavery that went on and the things that went on in it. If you ever, and it's going to sound like really, really like off the cuff, and it's going to sound like, why would you use that example? But Chelsea Handler has this show called Chelsea Does Whatever. So it's like Chelsea does, drugs. And not that she's doing drugs, even though she kind of did in that episode, but it's just like she does different things in different. So Chelsea does racism. So Chelsea goes down south and she's talking to, white people. And I want to say it was like Mississippi, Louisiana, one of those, just down south, Bible Belt, deep south. And one of the ladies was telling Chelsea how, slaves, my parents, my great-great-grandparents were slaves. They really treated them like they were one of the family. They really didn't have it that bad. I don't know why they got so upset. So Chelsea responded to her like any person with any common sense would respond to her like, what the hell are you talking about? Now, Chelsea didn't say those words, but that's the kind of response she gave her. So the lady started getting offended. I feel like you're judging me. I'm not judging you. You've already showed me what you are and what you come from. And I say all of that to say that the type of racism, the type of discrimination, the type of, just being held down, the things that Kaepernick is taking a knee for, like these issues aren't going anywhere. They've been in America for a long time. The problem is, instead of talking about this issue, everybody want to talk about the flag. The flag means a lot of different things to a lot of different people, but I want to say it was on George and Izzy I was listening to. He said, listen, I'm going to tell you the truth. He was like, what we're talking about has nothing to do with what Cap is actually doing. He was like, it's not good radio to talk about why Kaepernick is actually taking a knee. It's good radio to talk about Dabo Swinney's response. It's good radio to talk about, you know, how Tommy LaRusso and all these other prominent white male figures feel about him taking a knee. That's good radio. But again, I always go back to what Stephen A. said, and it's got to be the realest thing Stephen A. has ever said about this subject. It's the reason why I like what Cap did, because it made you pick a side. I know where you stand.
Yes, it does.
As a person.
Absolutely.
I know what side of the fence you stand on, depending on how you respond to this issue. Because if you don't like that he did the flag, that's fine. That's like, it's very, very fine if you don't like that he didn't stand up and do all of that for the flag. That's fine. You could do that all day. But do you understand? Do you understand why he did it? Do you understand his gripes? Do you understand black people's plight in America? Do you understand that? Can you see that point? Can you separate him kneeling on the national anthem and the actual problems that are going on in America?
No,
because
they cannot.
That's where it all falls down to.
Yes.
That's what it all boils down to. So I'm not Barack Obama. Barack Obama has faith that America is going to be this great utopia, and at one point,
he don't give a damn. He
out the office. He out there. You know he out the office because his kids is wilding right now. So you know nobody straight gives any. All fucks have been gone. Like they're all gone. Nobody gives any of them.
Once he took that baking soda out the refrigerator, he done.
It's a wrap.
He's done.
But we don't live in an America. We don't live in a country that I personally believe that we don't live in an America that even wants to get to that point.
No.
That even wants to get to the point where it's equal playing field across the board. Cause that's not, at the core, that's not what America is. At the core, America is getting yours above everybody else. Okay? So if you gotta hold somebody down or stand on somebody's head to get it, then so be it.
That's the American way.
That's the American way. Like, that's what America is built on. I'm going to stand on whoever I got to stand on to get what I got to get. Come get some.
Yeah.
And so we're never going to achieve. I'm not saying to stop fighting for it. I don't have that kind of faith in America. It's not, I tell you what, I'm not going to live to see the day where it's a level playing field all across the board. I know I'm not.
And you know, and I just want to say this before you wrap up, because I think Chris indeed knocked out the park. But again, I just want people to realize that it's not. And I was talking to my boy Rob. Shouts out to Rob McCormick, man. And you know, we was having a
Mac
discussion.
or Mac.
And we was having a great discussion.
I don't care. He could be 30. I'm calling him Mac. Or he could be 45. Soon as I say Mac or Mac.
But you know, so we were talking. I was like, it's not the issue of the flag. It's not the issue of the national anthem. The issue is that what he's doing this for, what this is representing for him. And again, once again, in America, they don't recognize the actual problem. They recognize what caused us to be talking about why we talking about the problem. Again, what's causing us to be talking about why we mad about the problem. Again, he never said F nobody. He never said he hate anyone. What he says that people are being, unjustly represented. People are dying for no reason. And I got to take a stand. But like Chris said, we're not talking about the issue. Yeah. And America doesn't want to talk about the issue because you know why? If America got to talk about the issue, they got to peel back layers upon layers upon layers.
Well, people have to be accountable.
Yes, they are.
And they have to become accountable.
But that's why they're not going to talk about it.
And like Chris said too, people are then forced to choose a side of the aisle saying them.
Listen.
And it's
we're
not
seeing
going to
sides.
happen.
We are seeing sides right now.
Listen.
Like it definitely is. I take it one step further. Even something that happened a couple of years ago that kind of forced the same thing for people to take sides when Tim Tebow would always kneel and pray.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
It forced people to either you rocking with Jesus or you're not. Because the conversation, just like this one, became so much more about he can't throw. But you talking about why is he in the end zone kneeling and praying after he scores? The name of the game is to score a touchdown. Should care less what you do after that. But again, I mean, that's the country we live in. I hope that there are others who have hope to make change. It's kind of a bleak picture right now, but again, for us to capitalize on a market that will never go anywhere, this is going to continue to be on TV. And I think it really, the thing that I love, man, it continues to expose people's ignorance.
Oh, yeah.
Like their lack of knowledge about anything. Like when Trent Dilfer was actually on my list to become, hey, man, you might be all right. Now I see that you just totally feeling yourself because Keyshawn, Chris, and Dick is going. You got a chair at the table with the big boy. Now you like, yeah, I'm going to say what I want to say. So he wasn't that good.
You know what he said?
He wasn't that good.
You know, he said, like, to us and to people who understand it, what he said was, get to the back of the bus, boy.
Wait. He's an idiot.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
No, Trent Dilfer. But before we do move on, I just want to give a shout out to the Sandra Bland family who just won that lawsuit. Yes. You know, because you know Sandra Bland committed suicide, but they just won that $1.9 million wrongful death suit.
There we go.
I'm gonna just put that. I mean, but you know she killed herself, so you know I don't remember people getting paid for killing themselves.
Nope.
Do you?
Nope.
Oh, but you know,
because that insurance policy is voided.
Yeah. But you know, I digress.
Yeah.
But
anyway, thanks again for tuning to another edition of Don't Shoot the Messenger podcast. I'm your boy Professional Sudden,
and I'm your boy Chris G.
And it's your boy The Ruck Report.
Peace.
Cheers.